Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have Curiosity Killed the Rat. I believe this is story 4 of the Curtisville series by Pratt 99. You can go check out Curiosity Killed the Rat on creepypasta.wiki, as well as any of the other Curtisville stories that Pratt 99 has posted. And we will jump right into the rundown. So this kid Mark wakes up to sirens and some sounds outside his window. He looks outside. There's a storm and a fog, and it's not quite morning yet. And it looks like there's a fire across the road, where there's some kind of like smoke or something.
There's a disturbance.
Disturbance across the road. There's some people outside, like as if the house is on fire. It's the Hawthorne residence, which is a tie-in to story 2, I believe. Shadows, Fog, and Firelight. And there's like a weird twisted metal thing on the property. It looks like maybe like an eavesdrop or maybe a ladder. But it's like been horribly burnt and
metal debris
twisted.
just on the ground.
Yeah. And then there's a flash of lightning or something that brings everybody's attention to a body that's hanging on the power lines. And it is a person that Mark recognizes, and he like jumps back in fear and pisses himself, literally, because he's a 7-year-old child.
Yes.
And he just saw a dead body. And recognizes the body as being that of Constance, the kid who babysat him and was nice to him.
And also that character from Troll 2 that overacts.
No, that's
like a
Creed's.
boss. Oh, damn! It is Creed's.
Wow, it's sad that I know that like off the bat.
Yeah.
So her name's
She's so memorable.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
honestly.
Yes. Credence. So Constance Green is now a charred corpse on the electric lines.
But he's theorizing that it's someone pulling a prank.
Yeah, he's basically trying to rationalize what he's seen, and like like her hand, like one of her hands and her special like looking glasses are gone, are missing. And then we cut away to another murder scene or another death scene in the town at the Chalmers mansion. Where the house is also on fire.
This is the only one that's on fire.
No. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, the first
one was actually not a fire, but so much as just a burned corpse.
There's a disturbance outside and then a burned corpse on the top of a...
But he thought that there was a fire initially, but...
No.
No, he thought of it, and then he looked out, and then it was the only thing that was burning was the body.
Okay, either way.
Yeah. So this house is actually on fire, or burned down. The family of the Chalmers that live there have all been killed, decapitated, their heads like put in like their arm or like under their arm, and as Deputy Walsh is looking at this, another larger man, a mountain of a man, shows up named Deputy Bear, Behr, shows up and tells him that it's even worse at another spot because they found a bunker behind the house that has just hundreds of bodies. And that freaks out our Deputy Walsh for a few moments before he needs to go check it out. And Bear bars his way and says, no, you don't want to check that out. It will scar your soul. There's so many bodies down there. Go talk to the sheriff. And so Walsh decides to do that, even though he'd rather go home because he's so freaked out. But werewolves don't get scared. What? Anyway, moving back to Mark, across town, I presume.
It's a different street.
Yeah. He is recovering from the shock of seeing his dead babysitter, and goes to get a fresh pair of PJs when he finds like a bunch of pages with a like letters addressed to him by Constance. And it basically explains that she killed the Chalmers because they were like psychic vampires,
or literal vampires.
Well, psychic vampires in the way that they. Oh, I guess it could be. They might be literal vampires.
Yeah.
But like I thought it might be psychic vampires, and that like everybody that gets near them, they just kind of like start getting drained, like energy wise.
Yeah, but it might have. Okay, we're getting into thoughts here.
Anyway, they were vampires. So Constance got some friends together to try and deal with them, but then everybody else chickened out, so she had to do it. And actually, she's glad that she's the only one that's dealing with it because she knows that she's going to probably die when she does the deed. And she was a prophet because she killed herself, or because she died. And basically just explains like how she came about finding out that the Chalmers were vampires.
Yeah,
and then the his letter reading is interrupted when his parents come from downstairs up to his room, and they want to move him downstairs to either the living room or to like his baby brother's room. Yeah,
they're like asking him if he's okay, and he's kind of like lying.
Yeah, he's lying. He hides the letter when he hears his parents coming under his pillow, and then just like says that he like had a weird dream, like a Hobbit dream.
He did actually.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Okay.
The very start of this
it's
the description of a dream where he's like, there's a hobbit hole somewhere, and there's all these hobbits essentially coming out all armed with random weapons, like they're all about to go kill a monster.
Right, yeah. Alright, so yeah, then that, so he explains that, and they then, like, see the sirens have or like the cops have showed up again, and so they're worried that, like, they're gonna go door to door and like get statements and stuff, and they're gonna interrupt the kids, and like they want to protect their kids from the trauma of like what's happening outside.
Too late.
Yeah. Little do they know it's too late.
Yeah.
But they drag, and like despite some argument, he ends up getting dragged downstairs to like sleep in his brother's room, and that's where the story ends for now, because it seems like this is part of a series. Yeah. So Curiosity killed the rat. It's from what I've gathered, like I didn't like look too far ahead, but it looks like these are a series of like short stories that just take place in Curtisville. Some of them are more connected to other ones than others. Like some of them are just like other parts of the town that are weird, and then some of them seem to have like tie-ins to other stories. Like this one has a tie-in to Shadow, Fog, and Firelight.
It's like a Niagara Falls situation.
Yeah. Except with a few of the stories having a little bit more continuity, like having more like sequel-y or sequelitis to reference Game Grumps.
Yeah, that's fine.
But we'll get into that. So first we're going to start off with everyone expects the Grandma Inquisitions at this point. So I'm going to start off with this quote. Her purple cat-eye glasses were missing, as well as her left hand. A false dawn crept through the murky fog-enshrouded woods that surrounded the fancy upscale area of Sandy Cove. Okay. This is separated by using a paragraph, but this is a point where like one set scene is suddenly like immediately followed up by a completely different location scene, and I didn't realize that until like reading a little bit further in this part of the story. Like I feel like there should be some kind of like maybe like one of those like either a better segue or transition, or. The story, it does use those horizontal divider lines. Maybe have that when they're separating the different like scenes across town. Because I thought this was still the same house, or the same property, until I realized that it was the Chalmers mansion, and that it was the Hawthorne's house. I was like, wait, it was the Hawthorne's house before, not the Chalmers. So yeah, I feel like there's a couple moments in the story where they could definitely use that. I just like I feel like that is it belongs in Grammar Inquisitions because it's a paragraphing thing. So, yeah, it's just... And then my next one is... Think that's bad? A gravely voice suddenly spoke over his left shoulder. It's actually supposed to be gravelly, as in Gravely. It's missing one of the L's, so it sounds like it's trying to say gravely, which isn't a word. Gravely is not a word.
What if he's a ghost?
Though they might want to go with just a grave voice set in to make it more foreboding or like again grim or something like that. Because it could go either way with that kind of like think that's bad, like a grave voice set. So yeah, just up in the air. Just like again a spelling issue that I found 2 suggestions for.
Yeah.
That. The next one I have is I had to do it. ... Alone. All the others in my party all the others in my party of fellow collaborators quit on account of being too afraid of any earthy or supernatural repercussions, or too busy covering their own arses. So it's actually supposed to be of any earthly or supernatural repercussions.
What was it?
Earthy, because earthy just sounds like just throwing earth on each other, like you're being thrown, like earth is being thrown at you, or dirt.
Yeah.
When earthly means like mortal or like mundane.
She's also great at.
I know, but it's how the character would talk.
Yeah,
It's how the character would write.
there you go.
God.
I mean,
That's just going to be
I
recurring.
didn't want to bring up the brouhaha again, but it's fine.
It's just going to continue to be.
It's
like,
a running gag.
I think that one might be one of my favorite stories and favorite episodes, just because of how much it spawned that. Like, it's how the character would talk.
Yeah.
All right, and then my next one is also my last one for Grammar Inquisitions. Strangely, despite their rather unnerving dedication to religion, sickly sweet personalities, perfect old-fashioned niceness, the populars generally adored them, although they were much loathed among the so-called losers and rejects, as well as some of teachers.
Run on.
So first off, yeah, there's a few run-on sentences in this section, like when she's writing. That's how she would write.
She doesn't know any better.
Yeah, she's a 12-year-old girl.
There you go.
Or was. Rest in peace, Constance Green. Also, I feel like it should be as well as some of the teachers. As it is just as some of teachers.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is my Grammar Inquisitions. Mikey, how many ands and butts?
We got a few.
He does more than that.
Yeah. I do more. do.
Wow.
We're just going straight potty humor here.
Yep. That's why we hired you.
Yes. Heart and soul.
Highbrow humor.
Yes. Heart and soul and eyebrow humor.
Yep. Wait, does that mean these are not actually the heart and soul? It's your... Nothing, go ahead.
Okay.
Because the joke is it's not highbrow.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just go.
Alright, so we got a front end, which faintly he could smell smoke and burnt meat. And what was that noise?
I'm going to say right now, I do agree with all the times that you're going to bring up ends, because I saw them and I ignored them. But I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't need to be there. But I just kept going, kept reading.
Why didn't you make note of it?
Because I knew he would. And there's no point.
Well, he could steal my thunder.
Yeah, but I don't want to. You're so dedicated to nitpicking ands and buts at the front of sentences.
They're not supposed to be there.
I only partially agree on that. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't need to be there. But anyway, I don't want to steal your part of the show.
Wow, that's all he does? Wow.
I didn't mean it that way.
No matter what you say, I will counter it. And you will be digging a deeper and deeper hole.
Yeah, just digging that hole.
Alright, I got another front end.
Mm-hmm.
He suddenly sneezed violently, sending his disheveled strands of brown hair flying, and then he heard it.
And then he heard it. There's an it is there mistakenly for emphasis, but it really could have been more for the
Yes.
Like that could have either been taken away or just incorporate that into the same sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you have accepted then?
Yeah, then he heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, then he heard it.
Yeah.
Or
so,
that's when he heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're really just trying to like help people not use the ums and uhs of writing.
It's just kind of like an easy way out.
Yeah.
Alright. And the next one is not a front end or a front butt.
My.
Oh god, like sucking in that air was way too much.
You like sucked in all the air in the room. Gotta open the window. Yeah.
Looks like it's been through a tornado.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just an extra S. Doesn't need to be there.
He's also a child.
That's how we talk. No, we can't always use that. Immersion will only get you so far.
Yeah.
Alright. And then we got a front butt, which is the beginning of a paragraph, apparently. So, I'll start with the beginning. It's okay, Welsh stammered. He started rubbing the circulation back into his tingling wrist. But it wasn't okay.
Again, I can see why it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be, but I can see why somebody would use that there. Because they're trying to like, but it wasn't okay. Again, for emphasis, it's like, but it wasn't okay.
I think the bigger problem is the fact that the "but it wasn't okay" is the start of the next paragraph,
Yeah, fair.
where it's talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually should just be one paragraph.
Yeah, or just
Yeah. Or, I mean, have that in the connected to the sentence previously.
and then move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because that sentence isn't that long. He started rubbing the circulation back into his tingling wrist, but it wasn't okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as one sentence, it works. It didn't need to be separated.
That's fair.
And then the next one I have, which is my last one, is fashion-wise, they looked out of place because of the way their hair and clothes was styled.
Wow, I totally missed that one. Yep. That's supposed to be
Worst styled.
worst styled, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the end of my grammar inquisitions. Gamer?
Alrighty. A couple of mine are a little different than normal. My first one is just a lack of information that's given. When it describes... So it describes the dream with the hobbits and the weapons and such. And then immediately after that, it goes into... Something was wrong. Faintly, he could smell smoke and burnt meat. And what was that noise? It sounded like sparklers crackling and popping. He suddenly sneezed violently, sending his disheveled strands of brown hair flying. Then he heard it, blah, 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 blah. When I first read this, I thought this was all in the dream.
Oh, okay.
There's no clear him waking up.
There's no clear transition to him waking up.
Yeah, it's just like, it describes the hobbits going after him, and then it started describing this.
It might have been why I completely... Like, I remember reading the Hobbit section, but only now. Like, I didn't I didn't recall it before, between reading it and coming into, like, for this episode.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I think there should have been some... Again, this story seems to suffer from, like, not adding transitionary, like, bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all it needs is he suddenly sneezed violently, waking him up, sending his disheveled strands, blah, 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 blah.
Bam. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's okay, some of these scenes are really good, but they are kind of getting... You kind of get whiplash. It's like, what? Ah! Or, like, a sudden wake-up call of, like, oh, this is a different location.
Yeah.
Because there's Dream inside Mark's house, outside on the street, and then the other street.
Yeah, and then back to Mark's house, or back to inside Mark's house.
Well, I mean, those are all the locations.
Yeah.
So it kind of needs clear distinction of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially since there's such a clear distinction between the real, like his room and reading the letter. Like, by that horizontal line, like, bam, we know exactly what we're reading and where we are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got some transition whiplash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But moving on, an actual spelling error that both of you guys missed.
Okay.
The red-orange glow lit up the twisted, gnarled boles of the trees.
Bowels.
B-O-L-E-S.
B-O-L-E-S?
Yes, I'm assuming it means holes of the trees. Like holes in between the like branches and stuff.
Hang on. Because I'm pretty sure bowls actually is a word for tree to do with trees, but I could be wrong.
I did a 5-second Google search to confirm, and I didn't see anything.
Bowl's definition: the stem or trunk of a tree.
Bam.
Okay, then I'll change this. I learned a word today.
Stems from the Old Norse and English words of bowler and bulk. And together they come to bowl in Middle English.
Oh. It's also a word that an 8-year-old knows.
I mean, it's not that. I mean, like, I knew words that, like, I should probably, that were weird at the time. Mm-hmm. I can't remember them now, but I'm sure.
Of course, yeah.
I'm sure I know. I can't name one, but I'm sure I know one. I'm sure I knew.
You conveniently can't
I knew fortuitous well before my sister did. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, either way.
Yes.
New word. And then, continuing on from that, another kind of problem with information delivery, right on the same one actually. The red-orange glow lit up the twisted, gnarled boles of the trees and cast wavering shadows upon the soaked grass and the dark, swollen waters of the nearby creek. It illuminated the myriad? Myriad? I think it's myriad. Either way. Myriad eyes of various wildlife as they fled the lightning strike and resulting explosion. I wasn't aware there was a lightning strike. It's talking about the lightning strike in the past tense. Like, it just happened, but it doesn't describe it happening. I don't know where the lightning strike happened.
Wait, because that's at Chalmers, right? That's in the scene at Chalmers.
After reading more, you find out that the lightning strike hit the house. But you find out after, so as I'm reading it, there's animals fleeing from a lightning strike that happened somewhere, and then it cuts to later, but it goes back in the past, technically in my mind, because I'm seeing the lightning strike happen then. Yeah,
well, because like there was a lightning strike earlier in the previous story, because that's what happened to Constance, when she got struck by lightning while she was, because in the previous story, Constance was the girl that was like, I remember we had that huge argument about the ladder, like back in like that episode. And we didn't know where it was, like it was on the wall or on the wall of the house. Yeah, it was that story. And like a lightning strike, and then like you heard Constance like scream, and then like the ladder like go flying. So there is. I was thinking it was that lightning strike, but then there was a second lightning strike on the hill at Chalmers' place.
I don't know,
second shooter shooting lightning on the hill.
Yeah, it's in the grassy knoll.
Yeah,
but
the grassy bowl.
Yeah, it's just weird because it's describing like soaked grass and like animals running along the floor, like as they're running away from a lightning strike. So it almost seems like it hit in that area.
Yeah,
but it didn't. It hit the house and.
Yeah, like it's one of those cases where like the flowery pro is creating a plot hole.
Kind of, yeah. Like, I didn't read word for word what I wrote down for what I wanted to say, so I'm just confirming.
Okay.
But yeah, just because it wasn't described, I didn't know where it happened, if it happened, like, at, whose street it is, because there's 2 streets we're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like,
again, it's that transitionary issue that we had between the 2 scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the start of the next paragraph, it says, unlike the local wildlife, however, the neighbors of 2184 Hewitt Road collected a safe distance away to watch the mansion burn. So I'm like, okay, it's another street.
Yeah.
But also, that's talking about the lightning strike, which happened in the previous paragraph. So it should be in there still, because it's talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I in the nitpick nook?
I think that one might be a little nitpick.
I don't know, man. Paragraphs are meant to like group up things while you're talking about the same thing.
No, like the lightning strike happened in one paragraph, and now we're dealing with the aftermath in another paragraph.
But I don't know if it's the same one or a different one.
It's a different one. Or it's the same one.
It can't be. How did the lightning...
No.
Okay, it's a different street.
Sorry. It's a different lightning strike from the one on the other street. But because there is no transitionariness between the two, that's where we're getting confused.
Yeah.
Is that because we're still... Because I was in the same boat. As I was reading this, I was like, wait, the Hawthorne's house is a mansion now? What? And
It
then
did say that they live in like the high end area,
the Hawthorns or the
like
Chalmers?
Mark II. Mark in across the street. Yeah.
Okay.
They live in like the rich.
Yeah,
area.
it's confusing because there was no like clear like switch to this location.
Yeah.
So
Either way, that's all with my my grammar in yellow.
okay. So moving on to actual thoughts. Mark bolted to the far wall and Mark bolted to the far wall with a whimper and a loss of bladder control. Oh crud! No, he croaked. Constance. Okay, I know he's a kid, but crud could be removed from that dialogue to give the matter a little bit more weight. Because when I read that initially, it's like, oh crud, no. Like, it didn't seem like the kid was actually, like, it didn't have the right gravitas to me of, like, a kid realizing that he's lost, like, a friend or something like that. Like, oh crud. Like, I know
What you wanted to say?
I honestly just, no, Constance. Like, or like, oh no, Constance. Like that to me feels more natural than, like, maybe it's just because, like, they put in the crud because he's a 7-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like
Think of it like
not
this.
necessary.
Think of it like this. He's trying to say, oh shit, but he's been conditioned by his parents so much that if he swears, bad things happen. So as he's about to say shit, he switches it to crud.
I guess, but it's just, or like maybe put the ... which is right after crud, before that to show like that kind of hesitation, if that's going to be the case. But yeah, it's just like, I understand he's a kid, and so like you give kids like kind of like funny little swear words like crud and stuff like that, but I honestly don't even think the swear word was necessary. It could have would have had more weight, I think, if the kid was like, oh no, Constance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And then the next one is actually something I liked about the story. Welsh stared at his companion with deep concern. He moved like he was drunk, swaying slightly like he was standing on a rocking ship. A strange, dusty grayness underlay the all-weather tan of his craggy face. I just want to take a moment and compliment this little paragraph. It's just after Welsh is told about the sheer number of dead discovered in the bunker, and is a really cool description to me of his reaction. Like, I liked the description, like the flowery pro of like his concern of like just like that reaction is like where he just like walks away from a situation just like kind of disassociated from everything. And then we brought up to this part, and then we're brought to this quote. May as well go see what's in the bunker thing too. Can't be any worse than all this mess. Bear suddenly stood before him, barring his way. What the hell, Jake? Welsh exclaimed, taking a step back. No, don't, said Bear hoarsely. You shouldn't look in that bunker, Nate. What is this? Welsh demanded, gazing at his friend in astonishment. Get a grip, Jake. Get a grip, Jake. We're not kids scared of some damn haunted house. We're rational thinking adults. Okay, seriously? You were just told, by a mountain of a man I might add, that there were hundreds of dead people in the bunker, and that he didn't want to go that far in because of like how horrible it was. I just got done complimenting a description of the guy's reaction hearing that story, or hearing about that, and this just kind of contradicts that reaction. Yes, Gamer, you have your hand up.
I do, yes. I think you're confusing things a little bit.
Am I?
Is Jake Welsh or Bear?
Jake is Welsh, or Jake is Bear. Nate is Welsh.
Nate?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't write down his first name.
Yeah. He said, "What the hell, Jake?" Welsh exclaimed, taking a step back. And then, "No, don't," said Bear hoarsely. "You shouldn't look into that bunker, Nate." So it's Nate Welsh and Jake Bear.
Yeah, so he's telling him not to go in. What's the problem?
Jake is telling Nate not to go in there, but like Jake suddenly, like Jake was like kind of again disassociated, like from hearing like hundreds of bodies, like fuck, just like holy shit, and it's like, well, I'm gonna go in and take a look, like literally like a sentence away from that reaction. And I was just like kind of contradicting like your previous reaction of like being stunned. Like, I don't know, like I guess like unless he's just like quickly snapped out of being stunned, but it's just like it was a nice like description, and then it was contradicted. Like there are hundreds of bodies like down there, and like just like fuck hundreds, or like what the fuck? And he just like kind of stammer, like it's described like he's stammering back and just like feeling like disconnected from the world because of the just that dread revelation of like how many bodies they just found. And then he's just like, well, I'm gonna go take a look. And then like Bear's just like, no, like he's just like it can't be any worse than what's out here. It's like, really? There are hundreds of bodies. It can't be any worse than what's in that than the family of bodies that you just found.
Yeah.
Like,
also, are you sure that he like stumbles back?
Yeah, it literally describes it as like
hundreds. He choked out in that tiny place.
Yeah, and then it cuts to like Welsh stared at his companion with deep concern. He moved like he was drunk, swaying slightly.
Bear. Bear
No,
this
is Welsh.
Welsh stared at his companion with deep concern, which
like
means he is describing Bear.
Oh, I thought it was Welsh doing that. Okay, that's fair.
Because he's freaking out because he saw it.
Yeah,
Bear did.
That's fair. It sounded like it was Welsh though to me, but I guess that was Bear. But still, like, it's just still like it's like you were just told there were hundreds, and you're saying it can't be any worse than what's out here. Like,
I mean, it's.
I guess trying to put on a brave face,
maybe.
But like, yeah, like that's like God.
He's a drilling junkie. He's likes exploring things.
I guess so.
He is a werewolf.
Okay, and I'm going to get to that. In my next sentence, I'm going to get to that. No, siree, I'm going to stick this one out like super glue and not be afraid. Werewolves aren't supposed to be afraid. Wait, what? Taking a moment to get past that nonchalant revelation of a character.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the series has proven already that it deals with some urban fantasy stuff. So, sure. Let's just table that statement for now.
Yeah.
And then immediately afterward, after like werewolves aren't supposed to be afraid, for a while, Mark stayed where he was, his back pressed up against the far wall, hugging his knees and his chest. Wait, what? God, we were just talking about werewolves, a sudden werewolf revelation, and now we're back to Mark. Okay, this story really needs those dividers.
Honestly, though, in that instance there, it clearly tells you that it's swapping back to Mark.
Doesn't? Okay, it does say that it's Mark.
It says Mark.
It does say it's Mark. Yeah, that's true.
In the first line, going against the wall. And
yeah,
shit.
fair. It just again, it was like that whiplash. It's like I thought we were staying with the werewolf, with werewolf. Cop.
First you're here, now you're here, then you're over here, now you're back here.
Now my head, like, look at my hand. It's that thing you love.
Yes.
We're clearly missing something. A werewolf is actually part of the local sports team, the Werewolves.
Oh yeah, clearly. Yeah. The Curtisville Werewolves.
Oh, that's all it is, yeah.
Curtisville Werewolves?
Yeah. Yeah, he just plays hockey or football or something.
Yeah. Alright. This is in the letter. This is like the section of the letter. Maybe I should have told someone in authority. I don't know. Maybe the principal or the vice principal or the nurse or even the school counselor lady. Or perhaps that supernatural task force I've heard so much about.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Also, it's counselor lady as in COUNSELOR, not CONCILOR. Just grammar inquisition or spelling inquisition, but I wanted to get that whole like supernatural task force comment in.
I understand.
So I left in my actual thoughts.
I understand.
And then my last actual thought before we go into final thoughts. So this is my last actual thought before we go into final thoughts.
Yes.
Mark thought she always looked weird wearing that big purple nightgown with her red hair all frizzy and tangled up, kind of like a zany fairy godmother. But at least she was friendly and nice, even though she had the tendency of asking rather embarrassing questions. This is in regards to his mother.
Yes.
You know, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if she was actually a fairy creature and like with a family, and
yes.
Mark is actually maybe not even aware of it. half Fey creature himself.
He might be full Fey creature.
Yeah, or
his dad could be too.
Yeah, exactly. His dad could be the Tooth Fairy. It just seems like the kind of situation that happens in Curtisville, like this weird urban fantasy horror.
Yeah. Like it could just be dropped randomly. Like werewolves aren't supposed to be scared.
Yeah. And that is my my actual thoughts until we go into final thoughts. So, Mikey, he says, read.
Alright, so my first actual thought. Mark is 7 years old and in grade 1.
Yes.
No.
Wait,
Is he fourth grade?
No, he's first grade.
Wait. Is that right or is that wrong?
That's what it says. He's a first grader.
And 7 years old.
Yep. So he's been held back a year at least.
Yeah. Well, so was Constance, apparently. Constance was held back a year or so.
But she's in grade 8.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, yeah, he's 7 years old. Does it say his grade?
Yeah.
First grader, I think it says.
Yep.
Near the beginning.
Near the beginning it says 7 years old.
I remember it saying first grader.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was looking at my notes. It's not in there.
Through his first grade mind.
Yeah. Through his first grade mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
What's the age for first graders?
5 to 6, typically.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah. Unless he was held back a day.
A day.
he failed kindergarten.
Yeah.
He didn't take enough naps. He was too energetic.
Yeah, that is odd. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can parents be like,
So that just
I don't
means
want to
that-
put you into school yet and give me one more year?
Maybe. That just needs to be fixed with 11. Wait, no, sorry.
What?
Sorry, 6 years old. Sorry, I was confusing it with Constance.
Yeah.
Being 12 years. Yeah, so 6 years old.
11-year-old in grade 1.
That's the problem. First grader. He's 21 years old.
He's 58.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. So just that, all it needs to do is just to fix that, just 6-year-old. Boom.
And then he's looking out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And how does he know it's Constance?
He just knows that instance of lightning that sheds light across the sky and upon that thing. He just knows. It's narratively like a narrative significant moment.
It says
Yeah.
because she's wearing like the black and
outfit.
purple like raincoat that she always wears.
Yeah. And he knows that she's missing her one hand and her glasses in that single moment of a flash of lightning. I kind of understand realistically it's kind of like that. It's a scene in a lot of stories. It's not just this one or creepypastas in general. Just those scenes in stories where the character gets a photographic image of something from a strike of lightning. It just burns into their brain.
I guess, or it's just lit enough after the fact.
Yeah.
It's on fire. It's creating light.
Yeah, he saw it for a moment and then he shirked back from it. Again, I can kind of let it go because it's
A moment isn't a very specific amount of time.
but yeah,
90 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, you stare at something for 90 seconds, you'll get that burned in your mind.
That's true. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if it is going by
In fact, if it's 90 seconds, he's got a full minute and a half.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's exactly why.
Yeah.
Got the binoculars out.
Yep.
Yeah,
So yeah.
done.
So yeah, a minute and a half is perfect amount of time to find it, see all the coordinating information from that description, and then be terrified by it and pee your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Your comment is null and void.
Alright. And then I have a comment here that the bunker was actually a secret supernatural task force lab, and they accidentally released a creature that they were testing, and
they were wiped out.
Yeah.
Well, because there was a vending machine in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mention it. That threw me off. It was he got as far as the vending machine. wait, what? There's like, Bear says he got as far as the vending machine and then went back. I was like, why is there a vending machine in this residential bunker? Like, is it a facility down there?
Is it a bunker?
Yeah, they say it's a bunker or like a bunker like
it goes underground.
Yeah, because it's just the shed is just like the opening.
Why would there be a vending machine?
Right? Like, unless it's some, like, again, like, so, like, unless it's just, like, there is a facility down there that we just don't know fully, but, like, and, like, maybe, hopefully another story will actually go down into the body pit and, like, show us what is down there. Because I really want to know. Yeah. And Pratt, if you're listening, please say you have a story about what is down there.
Or what isn't down there anymore.
Yeah. Because, like, I'm so curious about this. Curiosity kills the rat, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
bang. You're dead. You are now dead. We take over show.
Good luck editing, asshole.
Oh, no.
Unbang. You're like...
Yes.
Alright. Now, I don't want to really potentially steal Gamer Yell's thunder. But
why?
This next thing. So I was reading the part about the detectives, right? And then that ends with the whole werewolves aren't supposed to be afraid.
Yes.
And that so my headcanon changed to them actually being full werewolves.
So we just have full wolf cop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, that might be a comment in my final thoughts. Just wolf cop.
Yeah, but with the uniform.
Yeah.
Full wolf.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, it would explain Bear. Bear was like a mountain of a werewolf, like the werewolf of a man, who is in fact a werewolf or a werebear.
No, he's a man bear wolf.
Man bear wolf. Yeah.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah. And then they obviously know about the Supernatural Task Force.
Well, of course.
And they knew a lot of the people in that bunker, so that's why Bear's all like, "Don't go."
Yes.
It just
Jimmy's in there.
yeah.
Jimmy, not Jimmy.
Yeah, and Paul.
Man, I like that guy. Paul.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Oh man, he's super radical and he's hip.
I hate to say it,
But they got Phil.
and Sarah.
Fuck. We need to burn down this town.
Yeah.
God. You're so stupid.
Yeah. No hesitation, just yeah.
Yeah, no denying it.
Yeah. And accept what you are.
Yeah. Alright, so our next extra thought. Mark stared at the sheets of paper clutched tightly in his trembling hands. What the flicking heck did he just read? He's a first grader, so every other word?
Yeah, there's a lot of big words in there. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he's actually a really well-read first grader.
I mean, yeah. Even the way that he describes
Then
the
again,
world, too.
he might have been like then again, he's read The Hobbit, or his mom has read him The Hobbit.
Yeah, but
No,
him actually
I know.
reading it.
That's what my comment was like. He's read The Hobbit, and then I retracted it by saying it's like, well, his mom's probably read him The Hobbit.
Probably.
That's why he knows that.
Or he's just gifted.
Yeah.
It's just weird, like I didn't make a note of it, so I can bring it up now. Just like how colorful he describes the world, even though it, in a first-person perspective, it would be through a child's eyes,
Okay.
and everything would be
But
not as flowery.
The story isn't.
It's not written by
him. It's being written by
Yeah,
an omniscient
yeah.
narrator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't use like that. That doesn't forbid the story from being able to use flowery prose
Yeah, I suppose.
because it's not being written from.
I'm pretty sure there is at least one or two situations, though, where it's describing how he's feeling and how he's actually
'cause
seeing it. And
the
it's
omniscient
like,
narrator can say that because that's how you get a character, like how to get to know a character.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing saying it, like omniscient narrators can are they're the kind of the default template for writing a story because you can get into a character's head without being that character. You
Yeah.
can, say the character was feeling this and this kind of stuff. It's not until you start doing the from their point of view, from them writing it, And then you start getting into like things like, well, how does this 1-year-old, how does this the 7-year-old how does the 7-year-old first grader is able to write this huge, flowery, well described like journey?
Yeah, and because of the transition and whatnot, like it transitions to the narrator, obviously, for this next bit. But it was, to me, I was thinking it was Mark that was explaining this, but it's thinking to myself, like, how the heck would he know?
Oh, when he's like, what the heck did I just read? And they start reading again?
No, it's they had been super mean to her back in the 6th grade, constantly gossiping behind her back about her being poor, being stuck in special ed, having to live in a cruddy trailer park near the freeway, and having tweaker trash turned fanatical Jehovah's Witnesses as parents.
Yeah, that's the narrator's describing his thought, like what he's thinking at that point. But it's still kind of like, it is a little. It's also kind of describing like her lifestyle or like her style.
Honestly, at this point, I don't think this is the narrator saying what Mark is thinking, because how would Mark know all that shit?
Yeah,
it's just stepping outside, being like, for those of you at home,
this is how shitty her life was.
Yeah.
Or it's glossing over a section of the note describing how her life was, and it's not like going into detail.
Yeah, it's explaining it like he knows like he's thinking he's thinking part of this. But then the writer is going a little bit more flowery, just to show how shitty her life is and how she covers it all up and some of that. Yeah.
So my next actual thought is: does anyone know who M.E. is?
Me?
M.E.?
Yeah.
Like capital M, capital E?
Yeah.
Mass Effect.
Oh,
it's a pretty interesting game.
It's not Mark.
No.
He's M.H.
Wait, where's that from?
It's the Clarissa Milanakis.
It's Constance. Emmy is me. Me.
Oh, yeah.
Literally me.
Like,
it's not a
she's referring to herself.
But the thing is, it has
an M.E.
CM for Clarissa and then ME for the next one, so you assume that those are initials.
I assumed it was me.
Yeah.
Because CM... because this is a transcript of Constance talking to whatever the other person's name is, right? Who's...
Mark... talking to
the transfer student.
It's clear. Yeah, it's Clarissa, and then
Clarissa.
Like her, because because it's still part of her writing, and so it's basically just putting like CL for
still part of her writing. We're past the letter at this point.
This is in the letter.
No, that is in the letter.
This is
It's actually a transcription.
There's two. There's the first part of the letter, and then the narrator talks for a bit, and then it says as he continued reading, blah 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 blah.
And then when
there wasn't another break, but it is a continuation of the letter.
Yeah.
And at this point, right before that happens, it says it's essentially saying that it's describing this Clarissa person and saying like how this conversation started.
Yeah.
So it's CM for Clarissa and then me as in me.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how would she have this information?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because she talked to her.
Yeah, but the whole to me, if you're going to use initials to show who's talking,
she's also a 12-year-old girl, and so she'd probably just use her like me as it like just to say that this is me saying.
That's the way the character writes.
I don't, if it wasn't in a story, I'd almost say that we should. If we didn't pull it from a story, I'd almost want to make that a T-shirt.
You still could.
No, because that'd be plagiarism. I don't.
You don't need to sell it. If you want to have the T-shirt, go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. I should actually just have that T-shirt.
Yeah.
Just make one for myself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Either way, right before it, the little block of text right before that says, "So, imagine to my surprise when shortly after first period, when she met me at my locker and proceeded to ask me all kinds of questions. CM, have you seen all of me? Shaking my head. No, I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I 100% get where you're coming from, but I didn't come to that conclusion first, with me being a character.
Right. So that's the end of my actual thoughts.
Cool.
You son of a bitch. That's what you're saying. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I'm the omniscient narrator of our own story.
All right, so on to me then. So at the pretty early on, when the weird situation is happening outside, he says, "Oh crap, an emergency," he told himself. "Hope nothing happened to the Hawthorns." He liked the Hawthorns. They were nice and enjoyed a good laugh. And Gazelle, I think it's Gazelle. That's how
Giselle or Gazelle.
Gazelle. I don't know.
I've heard of Giselle, but
It don't matter. Gazelle had this really cool marble and singing rock collection. Who's going to get those when they were gone? And my answer is, okay, Mark's a dick. What would make you... What?
it's a 7-year-old kid.
Okay, but at this point I did not know that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, so...
But yeah, he's like, Mark is a dick.
Yeah, my first note is, Mark is a dick. What would you think... What would you think about if you saw an emergency vehicles pull up to your neighbor's house, someone you know, and yes, you wonder if they're okay, but you don't immediately wonder who's going to be getting their marble collection if one of them dies? Dick. And then later on, it says, instantly, the Wizard of Oz and all the news footage that had shown tornadoes flash through his first grade mind. So I'm like, oh, well, that explains it. Sort of. At this point now, what first grader sits there and contemplates mortality and wonder who will get the collection in the will when they die?
It's, I mean, you know what? Like you say that, but I do recall other I think I've recalled like movies, or I think even as a kid I recalled something like that, like thinking something like that, or one of my friends or cousins like saying something like that when we had somebody like pass away or possibly be hurt or something like that. It's like when you die, can I have your your rock collection? When you die, can I have your fossils? Like.
In first grade?
When I was really young, I think, but I'm not sure how young. But
I don't know.
I don't know.
I was blissfully ignorant about mortality until last year.
Wow.
Yes. Oh, I just felt that was really weird.
Yeah, no, it is kind
in both cases.
Also, maybe that's why he was so focused on her strange blue glasses, tinged glasses, Constance's.
They're purple.
And how they're purple, and how they're missing, and he's like, man, I really wish that I want those glasses. He just wants them.
Yeah.
He's not concerned about Constance.
No, not at all. He's just, he has no soul inside.
I mean, yeah.
He's a fake creature, after all, right?
Wow, that's speciesist.
Yes, it is.
That's magical speciesist.
Yeah. I'm sorry. For any fake creatures listening,
yeah.
I don't apologize.
Wow. The views and the thoughts and views, or the opinions and views of the Gamer in Yellow do not reflect those of Al Dente Rigamortis.
Except when they do.
Sure.
There you go. And this being one of them. Anyways, moving on. Okay. So the burning mansion happens. By the time the fire company arrived, the entire house had collapsed into a smoldering heap. Are you kidding me? Even firefighters get the shaft in creepypastas now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Normally it's police being portrayed as being inept at doing their jobs, but firefighters now too?
Hey man, authorities in general are always inept in horror movies. That's just how things go.
Okay, but unless there's a ton of fires all happening at the exact same time.
There was another fire-related thing going on halfway across town. Or maybe a couple of blocks down.
Okay, do they have only one fire truck?
Curtisville might just be a very small town.
I guess.
They might only have one fire.
If that's the case, then maybe.
Em Pratt, please get on. Or go. No.
Yeah, because this really matters.
Please let us know. Yeah, because it really matters. Yeah. Please let us know.
But either way, if it was a semi-big town, even if it was a small town, they would at least have two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it would have been, the fire truck would have been there while it was still a building.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't arrive.
They're creepypasta civil servants. Is civil servants a word?
Actually, it sounds like they're horror genre civil servants.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not just creepypastas that happens. It's horror genre in general.
Pretty much, yeah.
Unless the story is going for a noir or detective-y kind of thing, they generally are really either nothing they do matters because the monster's just going to shrug it off, or they arrive when it is narratively convenient.
Yeah, but another way they could do it is, like, they arrived early enough. It's just the problem is, like, the fire was so intense they could not get it
The
out.
best they can do is just control it, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, they can do that, yeah.
Because, like, I would hate to be a firefighter or a police officer and reading creepypastas and watching movies. Like, I'm not that bad. I try.
I kind of don't want to run some games where you guys are firefighters or police officers or authority figures in a creepypasta world where, like, weird shit is happening and, like, you guys are actually, like, supposed to be, like good at your job. Like, you guys are actually skilled, like, in at your job and stuff like that. Like, maybe do it in Call of Cthulhu D20 or something like that.
The problem is, like, the call comes in to, like,
and
the
there's
operator.
so many fucking obstacles. Like, you guys, like, you're on their way there, but, like, a tree falls down in front of the road. Like, oh fuck, okay, we gotta get rid of this thing.
Yeah.
And, like, running out of time, and then you guys arrive, and like some of the people in the crowd are just like,
Here comes the cavalry.
yeah, exactly. Where the hell were you, man?
Or it's not even like there was just a whole bunch of shit along the way. It's the fact that, like, when the call comes into, like, the operator, they, like, go out and have lunch and then come back and say, "Oh right, I need to send this report off to the cops."
Oh, yeah, by the way,
You guys should go do this thing.
Yeah, by the
Happened
way,
20 minutes ago.
by the way, Car 15, there's a murder homicide potentially at this address. We got that about 30 minutes ago, but I was on smoke break.
Yeah.
I was like, are you fucking kidding? They just, like, chew out the operator.
Yeah. It's just like this shit happens so often. It's like really casual. It's like whatever.
I mean, listen, this is going to happen like 3 nights in a row.
Yeah.
And then, like, happen again like 2 months from now. Like, it's just a thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
An entire town, like, an entire town was wiped out, like, across the river. Like, it's just no big thing. It happens all the time.
Yeah. It's
They move new people in, and then they're wiped out. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. Anyway, we're getting way sidetracked. Sorry, what?
The problem is that the Supernatural Task Force facility,
Yes.
which would have been able to respond,
Ah, yes.
was unable to because
Hundreds of employees just murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Carl.
In the arms of an angel. Just, like, all the different faces of kind of employees.
Yes.
Anyway, continue with your actual thoughts.
Yes, please. So we move to the police investigation situation.
Yes.
And it describes Jake Bear as this big guy. And then it goes on to having Bear say, "Oh, well, talk to Sheriff Eaton if you want more information." I just imagine if it cut to Sheriff Eaton, he'd be sitting at a table just eating everything.
Or just
because the bear is a huge guy.
A large corpulent man eating donuts.
Yes, all the time. Yes.
It's like, so you see here, we got a lot of bodies. We got to deal with this. Come on, let's go.
Yep. And he just picks up like an entire box of donuts as he leaves.
Yeah.
Yes, he has to be constantly eating.
What I want to know is, so Bear is a mountain of a man.
Yes. So
Eaton is apparently a corpulent or a large man with.
He eats all the time.
And eats all the time. And Walsh is a werewolf.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Or is it Walsh or Welsh? It's Welsh.
He's a Welsh werewolf.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to start. I was about to do an Irish accent, but I was like, "That's not Welsh. That's Irish."
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
Good thing you saved it.
Yeah.
And you didn't bring it up, so
No, clearly not.
no one noticed that you
Yeah.
almost fucked up. That's good. So moving on, werewolves aren't supposed to be afraid. I beg your pardon.
Yeah. What?
There you go.
That sounds like, actually, you know, it's, just quick aside from that, or just like me, because again, it was in my notes. That sounds like the title for a Bailey School Kids novel. Like, dragons don't make pizza. Vampires don't wear polka dots. Werewolves aren't afraid.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever heard of that shit?
No.
It was a novel series I read as a kid. Basically, each novel was a monster doesn't do blank. And it was like a mundane thing, like vampires don't wear swim shorts, or the Invisible Man doesn't teach drama class. Or,
So werewolves don't pee their pants.
Exactly.
Okay, fair.
Werewolves don't run in fear.
Yes. And it also immediately made me think of no one else is gonna get this other than you and me. What we're gonna call it with Rebel Rouser, and
Yeah, okay, I bring in things that, like, somebody has a chance of learning.
I'm just talking to you. We're just having a conversation here. If you want. I'm just saying, that just made me think.
Rebel Rouser?
Yeah, and Spiel.
And Spiel, yeah.
Yes.
Officer Spiel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Hi there. My name is Reb Rouser. Rebel Rouser.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, you know what? No, fuck it. For the audience at home, Reb L. Rouser and Officer Spiel are a cop duo I came up with for a D&D game that are were-dog cops.
Yes.
So like they are
the canine unit.
Yeah, and they are based off of our mutual friends, two dogs. Actually, he's on the show, Captain Slim.
Yes.
Yeah, he's based off of Rebel and Spy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the stupid little voices I have given them over the years.
Yes. Rebels is real smart.
Yes. Hi there. My name is Rebel. I've just met you and I love you, squirrel. Hi there.
Yeah. That's
anyway. Okay, tangent over. I'm policing our tangents.
All right. Good. So, on to the note that Mark finds.
Yes.
Right around the start of it, actually I don't remember where specifically, but it's saying that Constance is essentially saying, I'm sorry for getting you involved in this, Mark.
By giving him the letter.
Is that really involving him in it?
Yes.
It's informing him of it, but he's not involved in things before.
And thus involving him in it, in that he is now aware of the situation. He is now he's not an accomplice. Well, he's not an accomplice to murder, but he has now been given, like, he now has information about the whole matter.
Yeah.
So if there's any surviving Chalmers or vampires or psychic vampires, they're going to go after him. Probably.
Which makes me think, why the hell did she do this?
Maybe because she was hoping that she'd wipe out the vampires.
Okay, but if giving him information is potentially hazardous to him, it's not very nice.
Yeah, well, she didn't think it through.
It's the way the character thinks.
Jeez. It's how the character would talk, it's how the character would write, it's how the character would think.
Yeah.
Just that, all three of those on a shirt.
Yes, indeed.
A hilarious side note. When I was initially reading this, I got the second paragraph. I was like, I'm mighty sorry to drag you into this. And I was like, and I just scrolled ahead. And then at the end of it says, I just had it. Basically, leave behind all the evidence that points to you.
Yeah.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh, that's going to be interesting how this goes. And then I actually realized, like, never leave behind evidence that points to you. I was like, oh, that makes more sense.
Like a letter that explains that you were the one that killed them, and that's why you suddenly found yourself dead.
Yeah.
Strangely, in a freak lightning storm accident.
But I don't know about that. But at least in that situation, there's no possibility of the police falsely arresting someone else and blaming them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the truth is out there.
Yeah. The truth is out there.
Werewolf cops.
X-Files.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You should be. Anyway, so either way, early on when it's starting to go through everything, before she doesn't actually say they're straight up vampires, but she hints at it repeatedly,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But either way, before even all that hinting, when it was just describing, like, that she killed them and did this and that, I just had so many questions. One being, why is Mark involved in this? One being, what proof does she have that they're monsters? Vampires, I assume. This is before it was actually explained. How did you manage to kill an entire family of vampires?
That is pretty...
and why did you climb a telephone pole to fry yourself?
Yeah.
I have this question.
I had some questions because I actually I went back to Shadow, Fog, and Firelight because I thought that this was the character in the dream vision thing, that, you know, like how the character goes to that beach like a couple miles down the coast, and talks to those creatures and tells them about psychic vampire creatures in the mall.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that's the Chalmers. They're not actually the Chalmers in that story.
It could be
So there's
one of
another.
the Chalmers.
There's another family.
Does she have a different name?
Yeah, it's a completely different name. It's actually, as apparently I'm just going to my list, Lolly McLaren is the psychic vampire in Shadow, Fog, and Firelight mentioned.
Okay.
Not a Chalmer.
All right. That's fair.
Okay. So, step one, she actually did kill the vampires, and then she didn't kill herself. It was the entity that escaped from the supernatural task force that took her out.
Did she climb the telephone pole to like hide from it, like the way that a cartoon character would hide from a dog?
Yep.
Or perhaps...
And then it has like elemental power, so it just summoned a lightning bolt.
So, again, another thing that I kind of pulled... I'm not entirely 100% because I did kind of just go like skim through story 2 again, but I do remember them talking about start setting up a ritual to stop the psychic vampire. So perhaps that's how she killed them, is that it was through some kind of ritual, but then because like all her friends bailed out, she had to do it alone. She goofed up part of the ritual that was basically going to kill her as well, and by doing so, because there's multiple lightning strikes, so she was struck by lightning, and then the mansion that killed all the vampires was struck by lightning as well.
Okay, but the lightning strike didn't kill the vampires. She did.
Yeah, I still don't get that. Yeah, I don't know how a 12-year-old girl was able to hunt alone, because apparently she did this all by herself. She's really like the Slayer, like Buffy.
Yeah.
And she like cut off all their heads.
Yeah.
Maybe in their sleep, but no.
And no, because all their faces were like frozen in fear.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Prior to the heads being cut off.
I really don't know what happened.
Which means they are not intimidated by her, which means she's probably a werewolf.
Or she summoned something. Maybe she summoned something to help her kill them. And then and then it was also had like some kind of weird elemental magic power or something like that. And so like when she like sent it away or something, or tried to send it away, she tried to escape it and it killed her. And like it's like zapped her with lightning.
So she broke into the SNTF facility.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to go with the ritual aspect.
All right.
So, she did the ritual, which was to summon the thing that the supernatural task force was overlooking.
Okay.
And that actually, by summoning it, it actually unlocked the doors.
Oh, and then killed everybody inside.
Well, that's nice. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's interesting how that isn't in the note.
Also,
I don't need to know about that.
Yeah. Also, full disclaimer: we are just inserting our own idea of the SNTF into the story.
Have you seen any previous story of Dente Rigamortis?
That's fair. Since we've started the secret, yeah.
Since we've arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah. Even
we're not clarifying that this is canon. This is our own canon.
It's just a headcanon. Yeah. It's just a general purpose, all creepypasta headcanon. They're all connected.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and more simply, my last question in regards to the first section of the letter, which is what I'm talking about here, is why does it just stop? Because it went through it, and then it just stopped without ending, and then it started describing how he feels or whatever. I'm like, so is that all we're going to get about the note, really? I know it continues.
Yeah.
But at that point, I'm like, why is it stopping?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It stops because that was the end of the page that he read, because there were multiple pages. And then he stopped reading that page. He was like, what the hell did I just read? And then he went to the next page. It does say that. He went to another page.
Did it?
Yeah.
I thought it just says he continues reading.
I'm pretty sure it says that he like flipped to another page and continued reading.
Oh, well then.
And then the reason why it stopped after that, like after he was finished reading that, like, we didn't get the rest of it.
Yeah, because his parents
showed up, so we interrupted. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get the page situation. That's all.
Gotcha.
If that is the case, I'm not going to bother looking it up because I don't care.
Okay.
So,
wait, wow.
Yeah. I mean, okay. It's not a big deal.
I get you. I get you. Yeah. It's superfluous.
Yes. All right. Then my last real one here is in regards to, it's in the note where she's describing how vampire girl, don't remember her name.
Chalmer?
One of them.
Yeah.
Oh, it says in my note here, Sally Chalmer.
Yeah.
One of the science class hamsters even committed suicide after being handled by. Why are you laughing? Let me just continue. Yeah. By Sally Chalmers, he just hung from the top bar of his cage, not bothering to eat or sleep. every time someone would take him down, he would just climb back up and stay there that way for several more days until he died. I don't know if committing suicide is the proper term here for a hamster.
I mean, if it went on a hunger strike, it committed suicide via that. I don't know why we had to climb and hang from the ceiling. Like when it said it hanged from the cage, I was like, did it stick its head in the rafter, just like through the gap between the bars, and just stick it, get its head stuck so it hang. But then it says it held on for days. I was like, that sounds ridiculous.
Honestly, I didn't get that image until just now, after rereading it. I just imagined he went onto a higher thing and just sat there, didn't do anything.
Yeah, but no, he's apparently just holding on to the bars.
He's just trying to Spider-Man it.
Yeah.
He was trying to become the new Hang In There poster.
Hang in there, hamster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody should make a new poster of that, because that poster doesn't exist anymore. It's really hard to find that poster.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Oh. That's sad.
That cat's probably dead by now.
But there's one in Borderlands, a pre-sequel. You can just use that one.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Well, yeah, either way, using the term committing suicide puts a very human-like images that the hamster's doing.
Yeah, again, what I heard is
he has a rope somehow.
Or, again, I just pictured it, squeezing its head through the little, gas in the bars, and then just, putting his neck on an angle and just...
So dark.
But it's a very bizarre, darkly humorous description for it is funny, but it's morbidly funny.
Yeah,
the way the hamster killed itself.
It would be morbid, but not funny if it's just after the hamster did not want to be touched anymore and stopped eating.
Yeah, exactly. That would be more dark. If it just refused to eat, refused to drink, wouldn't be touched by anybody, and just basically sat in its own filth and died.
Yes.
That's probably how an actual hamster would die, but...
Yes. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Either way is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Then, continuing on from that, now that was strange, really. It should have raised red flags, but his premature demise was later chalked up to him feeling devastated from his recent loss of another fellow hamster, his girlfriend. Are you serious?
They are 7 and 12.
I mean, I get it. You're a fourth grader, so the teacher had to figure out something to tell you, but damn.
Yeah.
And then, also, I put fourth instead of first. Whoops. Also, at that point, I realized, wait, this isn't Mark talking, this is Constance. She's in grade 8, so no.
Is she in grade 8?
Yeah.
I thought she was a fourth grader.
No, she's grade 8.
Okay. End of month, yeah.
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 So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that being said, I don't know when this happened, but I'm assuming it was relatively recently.
Yeah.
Minimum grade 7 or 8.
At some point in this school year.
Yeah. Or even this year, in grade 8. So, yeah, it seems weird that they would pass that off as, oh, he was just sad because he lost his girlfriend.
So he died. Or so he commits Sudoku.
Yeah. Just has a little Sudoku thing in there.
Yeah. Poor the guy. Couldn't figure it out.
Yep. Anyway.
Yes, and then my last note is simply put, it's over?
Yeah.
Because it just stops. It's just like the first section of the note. I'm like, why is it stopping? There's more to be said.
This is actually a very nice segue to my final thought. Or the start of my final thought.
There you go.
So I'm going to start with the last sentence of the story. Okay, Mom, Mark sighed dismally, glancing one last time at his pillow before letting Dad lead him away. Evidently, this story should have been called "The Cocktease Killed," Cocktease Killed the Rat. Then again, the stories of Curtisville all seem to have foreboding, even cliffhanger endings, and sometimes just tell us things that never get really resolved, or don't get resolved in that story, and come back later in other stories. So the narrative to me feels very Lynchian at times, with the mundane and the supernatural blending into kind of this weird kind of this weird mystical world that's still grounded in reality, but also very alien. And things things tie up at different points, but not in a straight order, or just not explaining things at all.
Werewolves.
Yeah. I do recall like I said earlier, I did recall psychic vampires and the incident of a person on a ladder and getting hit by lightning or something from Shadow, Fog, and Firelight. So I went back to story 2 of the Curtisville series. Though the psychic vampire was not a Chalmer, but Lolly McLaren.
That's okay. There could be more than one family
so
of vampires.
there's another family of psychic vampires, apparently.
Yeah.
Or real vampires, perhaps, even. And the people involved in dealing with them went by different names, like not Constance Green. However, we never did get the name of the person that was on the ladder, so now we know who that was. So I feel like I was just missing something, or like that something was missing in between the two stories. Then again, I did skim through the last story, just to refresh myself to see if I could find points that were connecting the dots and stuff.
Yeah.
So I might have missed something there. And this may have been one of Ellery's friends that she mentions that were like working on a ritual to like stop the psychic vampires. I guess we found out, like I said, who was on the ladder and what happened after and sort of before it, before the ladder incident. Though why is still a little bit up in the air.
The vampires.
Also, how she offed an entire family of psychic vampires.
Magic.
Also, there's a werewolf on the force, so wolf cop.
Yep.
That's interesting.
That's the thing.
The story for me has its charm. As the Curtisville stories kind of before it have had for me. I enjoy the weirdness, but can also really see people being put off by the plot holes, some of the inconsistencies, the weird storytelling direction, and lack of full explanations on things. This is why I give the story partial recommendation on account of that. As I enjoy the weirdness, I want to continue reading these. But I can see why people who just pick this one up and don't read any of the other ones would be put off by it because it doesn't tell a straight story, and the editing, like if say this was translated to a movie, the editing would be like again Lynchian, and we're like it's just things all over the place or like transitioned very poorly.
Well, if they put it in a movie, they would have to storyboard it, and then you would actually see the scenes as they arrive.
In a movie, it would translate a little bit better, but like as it is written, like the scene transitions are like don't work.
Yeah, because whatever's written is how the transitions work in your head and how you're visually building every scene. But if it's a movie, you immediately see you're outside, you're inside. That's that character. That's that character. Yeah. So it wouldn't really be a problem in a visual aspect.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, probably give this a 45% recommendation. And it's really just because I need to know more. Like I want to know more about. I'd actually like a story about Wolf Cop, like just full on explanation, or just a story that just completely focuses on Wolf Cop and dealing with like maybe the bodies there, or like his role in the community of this weird screwed up town. Mm-hmm. It's nice that this story is kind of a sequel to Shadow, Fog, and Firelight, so we actually got some resolution, but we also got a lot more questions.
Is it possible that it's just another character that climbed up a ladder?
I don't think so. I think this, again, I could be wrong, but I kind of got the impression that it was the same character, and that this is kind of like a linking sequel to it. But,
it did say that there was a bunch of random debris.
Yeah.
Like metal debris.
Almost like a
ladder that exploded from a lightning strike, Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my recommendation for it. Like, if you like the weird... If you've read any of the other stories of set in Curtisville, and you like the weird urban fantasy-esque thing to it, and don't mind just not knowing 100% all, like, as you even like for the full story, you'll like it. But otherwise, it's kind of hard to like. It makes you have to work a little bit harder to read it and to understand what's going on. So yeah, that's my recommendation. 45% would recommend it. Mikey.
I'm not recommending this.
I thought so.
Evil. Evil, man.
I mean,
Well, it's the transitions or lack of notification of transitions.
lack thereof. Yeah.
Like, it's nice that they separate out the letter.
But they should have done that for other stories.
Yeah, they
you
should
want a
have.
Batman wipe on everyone? You want a Batman wipe, like screen transition every time?
Or a Star Wars swipe.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Fair.
Like, yeah.
Like,
I mean, okay, joking aside, in writing, it does have to be a lot more clear, so I get it. Yeah.
yeah, like when you're switching characters.
Like,
and
meanwhile, in this part of town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like something, like, it doesn't even have to be that big. It just has to be like a few words to just help segue between like these two spots. Because otherwise it gives you like that whiplash.
Yeah, and as Gamer brought up, the whole dream sequence and then suddenly being awake with no real transition.
Yeah.
Like that one I didn't catch initially, but then again I also almost forgot that there was a dream sequence at the beginning.
Yeah.
So what's that tell you? And I read the story yesterday, so
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just a non-recommendation from me.
Fair. For me, I mean, all the things we've talked about is true. The transitions are dodgy sometimes. But I don't know. Everything that was happening is interesting, though, so I can't hate on it. And it makes me wonder, like, because, like, you mentioned what I said about the dream situation. What if this entire thing is a dream and he never actually woke up?
well, that's the thing. Like these the Curtis stories tend to play with dreams a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think every story has had a dream sequence in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first one was almost entirely a dream, like a nightmare the character was having about a post box.
I don't think that's the one I wasn't for. Yeah.
Then Shadow, Fog, and Firelight was was wrapped around with the character waking up and then going to sleep and then having a vision of the story that was going on.
Yes.
And then the
Canaries.
and then Canaries was the character waking up and from dreams or from like something, and then thinking that there was something in his closet because of it. And then it turned out there was actually might have been actually something creepy and supernatural that was like disguising itself as something mundane.
Yes.
And then this one, the Hobbit dream.
Yes.
He woke up from, possibly.
I was really thinking that was going to have something to do with what happened, but it's an outlier.
Maybe, or it could be an allegory for what actually happened to
The bunker?
to the bunker, or to Constance, or to the family itself, the Chalmers. It's left very. There's a lot of vagaries.
Yeah.
A lot of open interpretation and allegory in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not allegory so much, but like a lot more. There's a lot of room for interpretation in the story, and a lot of unanswered questions. The story likes to ask a lot of unanswered questions, or likes to ask a lot of questions and not answer them.
Mm-hmm. You got to tune in next time.
Yeah.
Hobbits, the true enemy of the Supernatural Task Force.
Goddamn those dirty halflings.
Wow. You come down on me against fey creatures.
Yeah, you're broad stroking the entire magical races. I'm just going down on one race. That sounded really bad.
You can go down on hobbits as much as you want. I don't need to know about it. The internet doesn't need to. Well, they probably need to know about it.
Yeah.
But
World War II. Yeah, no. Abort.
either way, okay. Look. The story jumps around a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like the story would be better if it was two stories. One being Mark and the situation there with Mark and Constance, and the other one being Wolfcop.
I actually so as I was reading it, I kind of wanted to edit it a little bit in terms of where the scenes went, but I didn't know how. I knew that
They're in chronological order.
They but I don't know. It seemed like they need I don't know. It seemed like I wanted to know. I wanted to have the sheriff scenes somewhere else, but I didn't know where to place it. I don't know if that's just me looking at the story, and when I was reading it, I was when it jumped away to that and jumped back to Mark, and then went to the letter, and then back to Mark, then the letter, then Mark again. It seemed like it isn't a chronological order. It isn't kind of like a weird zigzaggy but chronological order. And I think because of that, the way it's written, like that storytelling direction, it made me want to like put the cop section somewhere else, and maybe at the beginning, and then cut to the to Mark stuff.
But the cop section has nothing to do with Mark stuff.
Yeah, that's why I said
actually,
like
kind of
it kind of does. Like, maybe if that one had been at the beginning, and then we get Mark's story, and like then him getting the letter, and then that explaining what happened to Chalmers earlier. But at the same time, I feel like it might also maybe that might just me be overthinking the editing of the story, or like the placement of scenes in the story, and maybe it is fine where it is. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. If you did it, if it was Mark's story first, it goes through it all.
Yeah.
It doesn't straight up describe what happens at the Chalmers place.
Yeah.
And then there's another story of Wolf Cop, where they go there and you see the repercussions of what happened in the previous story.
Yeah.
And you go on from there.
Yeah, that might be
That's a quick tie at the start.
Yeah.
To previous events, making sure that's all in the same universe. I don't know. It was very jumpy and whiplashy, as we've gone on about.
Yeah. But at the same time, 2 of 3 of us enjoyed the weird whimsy, like the weirdness of it, the supernaturalness of it.
Yeah, and the fact that there's a task force there as well.
Okay, yeah. Our inserts aside,
there's a bunker with a vending machine.
I don't know about that. Like, why is there? Is it like a facility? Like, was the Chalmers? Did the Chalmers have a secret facility where they processed their victims?
Okay,
like
possibly. But the other thing is, like, it's not straight up described where this bunker is, because it almost seems like the house is burned down, and then
there's
the first thing I imagined was Bear going, "You think this is bad? Look over there, across the street, behind the bush. There's a thing there.
Well,
it's even worse.
In the backyard.
I didn't know it was in the same property, to be honest. But it does make sense if they're vampires that are sucking the life out of people and eating disposed bodies.
Exactly.
But why is there a vending machine?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the vending machine, like is throwing me off. It's like because I imagine I just kind of thought okay, they created this creepy underground basement kind of area, and it has a vending machine. What? Like I'm really curious about it. Like is it actually like a facility like that goes under the property, like and I'm so intrigued yet confused.
I've got it. The facility is there for purposes of fueling the vending machine. And what the vending machine is all different sorts of blood for vampires to go to and purchase blood in the black market.
I still don't think these are like traditional bloodsuckers. I think these are like the psychic energy vampires.
That's psychic energy in a can as well. They have both.
I guess, yeah.
Because
it's Perrier.
Yeah.
Except it's the
It's Perrier?
No. I'm going Perrier as in the Spaceballs reference.
Oh, okay, fair.
Where they just they pop it open and
yeah. There's different flavors. There's blood ones, and then there's different magical essences ones. Yeah. All in one vending machine. That's why you couldn't get past it, because it's like, blood and essence vending machine? I have to leave. That's all he saw.
This is out of my job description.
Yeah.
I'm getting Wolf Cop.
This is above my pay grade, yeah.
The vending machine is actually the camouflage monster.
Oh, fuck.
What's a transformer?
It's a Dionysus. Not the Dionysus house, but it's like a mimic.
Yes.
The creature is actually some kind of mimic.
Oh, yeah. That's a modern day mimic, because back in the day it would be a treasure chest.
I would not put it past this story because of the setting, because all the other stories have had these whimsical little creatures in the modern world, and it's like, okay, I can, sure.
Yep.
Wolf Cop? Sure. Mimic vending machine?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yep.
We got psychic vampires that have been slayed by a girl who was then killed by some kind of counter curse or something. I don't know what the hell that was.
Or just
about.
a force of nature.
I'm just assuming that. I'm at this point. I'm not even assuming it's natural. Like what happened. Like it was a fluke. I'm thinking it was either some kind of counter curse or a trap spell that the vampires had after they were killed.
I don't think it straight up says that a lightning bolt hits it, though. It
says not in this story, but in the previous story.
Yeah.
In Shadow, Fog, and Firelight, while she's climbing up this ladder, we hear all of this, like the rap tap of the window, and then like a zap sound.
Tap.
Yeah, all right there, Harrow.
You said rap tap.
I know. Anyway,
it's me. Go.
But anyway, yeah. So again, I wouldn't put it past the story for being supernatural.
Totally.
But
Yeah, the vending machine, like you put the coin in, and then that's like the vending machine having a biscuit or something.
Yeah.
But like the can comes down and gets jammed, and you're like, shit, you gotta stick your hand up, and it's like, it just pulls you in.
right through that little
Yeah,
spot.
totally.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. Okay. Back to brass tacks.
Yeah, okay. If it was split up into different stories, I would enjoy it more because it would have a more linear and natural flow to it. That being said, I didn't hate it. It brought a lot of questions up that I want answers to, but I want answers to them because I enjoy what's being brought up.
I'm actually surprised because I thought you wouldn't like this one.
Because of why?
Because it doesn't explain everything in the story.
Yes, but it leaves it whimsical and magical, and it doesn't make me assume too much.
It's just these are the facts of life. Werewolves aren't afraid.
It's just a thing. Yeah, there's vampires. Yeah.
Yeah.
She killed them. I don't know how. It might tell me next.
They're not assumptions. They're statements.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's fine.
Okay.
So I didn't hate it. So I'll recommend it.
Yeah.
Whether or not this flows awesomely with the rest of them, I don't recall.
There seems to be a little bit of there might be some continuity issues. I think between because when I was reading, unless there's another family of say vampires that we're just not privy to. And the Chalmers
There has to be more than one.
I mean, hopefully, because otherwise, that is a pretty big. That is a pretty big. Because they even she's the Lolly McLaren is even described as the way the Chalmers are described as.
Well, like old timey looking.
Yeah, kind of like they're from another
the cousins.
time period. So yeah, maybe there's the McLarens and the Chalmers are basically the same brood, basically.
Yeah, pretty much
the same coven.
Yep, I can see it.
We just wiped out one, and now the other ones are going to seek revenge on the
I
town.
mean, you killed one small family. I'm sure they have extended family elsewhere.
Yeah.
One house. But anyway,
The House of Chalmers is down. Long live the House of McLaren.
Mm-hmm, yeah. They make good cards. They go really fast.
Wow.
They do.
Yeah. Okay.
The F1 was like one of the... Huh?
Partial recommendation, don't recommend, partial recommendation.
Yeah.
Or full recommendation.
Towards the plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't enough annoying stuff to piss me off, so I enjoyed the read.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. If you want to get a hold of us, we're on Twitter. Mikey's at the Stands for Evil. Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow with a W. I'm at Review Cultist. You can also leave us emails and suggestions at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave suggestions for other creepypastas. Did I say that? Did I double down on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can also check out the episodes on YouTube at Al Dente Rigor Mortis, where we have the title cards associated with each episode as the visual for the audio. And you can check those out at crazonstudios.tumblr.com or crazon.deviantart.com. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go become a patron. Just go to Patreon and look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis and select the backer tier we have. We have $2 and $5 tier, and each one has separate things like early access, special episodes with my co-hosts going solo and such.
Yeah, our solo album.
Yeah, your solo album, yeah.
Our solo album. Our duo album.
Yeah. Your duet.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
As well as other special episodes that you can check out. And thank you for being a patron if you are already. Your patronage keeps us going.
It really does.
To rip off my hosts.
It's true, though. We would not be here without all of you.
Yeah, that's true. And become a patron will know what I'm talking about by ripping them off.
Yeah, exactly.
And for all the listeners that we have that aren't patrons, and to all the authors of these stories, thank you too, because without you, we really wouldn't have much of a show. So thank you. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well.